Okay, let's start up here. We got the carrier service button. We're working on a carrier and Infinity Touch, non-Wi-Fi. Like I said, I did not have a control board hooked up to this, so that's why I'm coming up with a communication fault. If that wasn't there, it would just look like this over here. So I want to get into some of the service menus on this piece of equipment, or this control. We'll go to menu, and then what we'll do is we'll press and hold this button until it turns green or yellow or whatever color it is, because I'm colorblind. And then we're into the installation and service menu of this piece of this control. Right now, equipment summary, it's not going to come up with really anything. Oh yeah, it does. It's what I took off. Originally, this was the furnace, was a service board. I changed the board on the furnace, so this way it's coming up as service board and not the model number. It was a gas heat, 3-stage, 80,000 BTU furnace. It was hooked up to a 58 MVC 080. That would make it a 3-stage modulating carrier infinity furnace. It was also coupled up to a multi-stage heat pump. It was on a 25 VNA, which was installed 5 years after the furnace was. It gives you the evaporator. It was not zoned, so actually it stored a little information in there, kind of give you an idea what it's going to look like. If the boards haven't been changed, it will give you model and serial numbers. Installation. We're not going to do the installation because it's not going to work, because it's not hooked up to a furnace or any ductwork or anything of that sort, so it won't work. We're going to skip that point. Setup. There are a lot of different setup options in this control. Let's start out at thermostat. You got the auto mode setup, enable or disable. Changeover time between heating and cooling is 30 minutes. Let's see what you can bring it down to. 5 minutes, that's it. I don't know what you can bring it up to. 120 minutes, that's the max. You can go a changeover between heating and cooling. This is for auto mode. My deadband, if you have it in auto, on your home screen, if you switch, in my mode, instead of heat or cool or fan only, you switch it to auto. You have a deadband in between heating cool of 2 degrees, and that can be, you can go up to 6, that's it. And I think you can go down to, you can go down to 0. I don't know why you do that. It would be annoying. Heating and cooling running constantly all the time. Keep really tight temperature, but no reason for that. Offsets. You can offset your outdoor temp, your room temp, your humidity. I think you can only do 5 or 6 degrees, 5 degrees. 5 degrees plus or minus. Humidities 10% plus or minus. So you can, if you have a customer that says, it doesn't feel like 72 in here, you can offset it to make it feel, if they want to feel like it's 72 and they want to see it 72, you can make it 72. Let's put it that way. Reset the factory defaults. We don't want to get into that right now. Scheduling on and off. That's basically, your scheduling. Your programmable part of thermostat, you can turn it off. Some people do not like it. Older couples do not like it. They turn it up when they get up in the morning. They turn it down when they go to sleep. Smart recovery. If you guys don't know what smart recovery is, the thermostat kind of learns the house on how long it takes to heat and cool the house at any given time. Usually on any programmable stat that doesn't have smart recovery, if you set it for, if you want it at 72 at 6 o'clock a.m., that furnace will start at 6 o'clock to try to raise the temperature to 72. It might take a half hour to do it, but that's what it's told to do. With smart recovery, thermostat kind of learns the house to where, okay, at 6 o'clock it's going to be 72, so it will start sometimes an hour, maybe a half an hour before 6 o'clock. So at 6 o'clock it is 72. It kind of learns the house. So that's smart recovery. That was in the thermostat, and then let me check. Yep, that was in the thermostat. Now we go to the furnace. We got gas, heat, airflow. I don't know how many options we have in here. We only have two. The older Infinity had three. It had comfort, efficiency, and maximum. And that's very important on the Carrier Infinities with a bypass humidifier. Not a fan humidifier, a bypass humidifier. What that does, if you don't have that on, you run into overheating issues on the furnace due to the fact you can't get enough airflow across the heat exchanger. What the low heat rise does is it compensates for the heated return from the bypass humidifier. So I know on the last control, the prior Infinity control to the Infinity Touch, it did raise the blower speed, or the CFM, by 18%. Now 18%, that's almost 20% of your airflow. If you do not have that on, you will overheat the furnace, guaranteed. So that's one thing in the control that you gotta kind of look out for if you're servicing these pieces of equipment and you don't do it every day. Low heat rise has got to be on with a bypass humidifier no matter what. Just improves the airflow too and heating. AC heat pump gives you an option of we got comfort and cooling, comfort and heat pump, and dehumidification. Okay, this is AC heat pump airflow. Now I can't remember offhand. I know in comfort it's 350 CFM per ton. I think efficiency is 375, and I think max is 400 per ton. And same goes with the heat pump. Dehumidification, you have two options, which is normal and high airflow. You just want to leave that to normal. Only time you really run into these are you'll never have to change these if you have the proper size ductwork. It's kind of a, try to fix it if you run into a problem thing, but they're there if you need them. Gas heat staging, I usually leave it on system. Then we got a few different options. You can lock the stages where it goes low to high, medium to high, low to medium, high only, low only. But I usually leave it system and control. Depends on what furnace you have. This was on an MVC, so I just left it in system and control, and it runs depending on temperature you set it at, how it's going to stage. If you set it up more than 5 degrees, it'll stage automatically to high. Sometimes it'll skip the heat pump totally. Depends on what the control deems necessary to heat the house the most efficient way possible. Gas heat off delay, that's set to 120 seconds. Usually I don't screw around with it. Altitude, never had to deal with that, so guys in Colorado will have to derate furnace, you know, say never had to deal with that. Static pressure 800 feet. It's there if you need it. Never had to use it. Not my area. I'm in Michigan, so I don't worry about it. I'm 0 to 2000, and that's where I leave it. Dehumidification drain. I had a customer this year. We had a real humid summer in Michigan, and we just put the system in, and he was told the fan was going to run all the time in low. So he set it to low, and apparently he had nothing but time on his hands, and he really paid attention on how the furnace operated. And he noticed when the system would come out of dehumidification that the fan would not run. And what it is it's got a time delay off where it won't bring the fan on because of it just came out of dehumidification. The coil is soaking wet, and it doesn't want to blow all that, you know, moisture back into the house it just took out. So what the furnace does is it stops everything. It stops the fan, it stops everything. And it just sits there and waits for the coil to drain. After the 5 minutes, you know, elapses, then the fan will go back into low. And this can be adjusted. You can turn it off to where, okay, it comes out of dehumidification, the fan turns on instantly. And I don't know how many minutes you can go up to, maybe an hour, 60 minutes. Usually we leave that right at 5 minutes. G terminal. Don't use it that much, but what you do is like you hook up a wet switch to the G terminal between, I think it's common and G, and if you switch this to on, and if it sees any voltage at G, no, you hook it up to R and G. Can't remember, I gotta look at it, I gotta look it up in the book, I can't remember, but if it sees voltage there, it will, you know, fan only, alert, or shut down the whole system. Good feature for any kind of horizontal application. Anywhere where moisture is a huge problem, you know, if you had, like in an attic, crawl space, or, you know, or if you just want to know what's going on with the system. Let's see what else we got here. We didn't save our G terminal, so it just gives you to be able to label it. We have AC heat pump setup, stage latches, This one was hooked up to a five-stage heat pump. So the way I set it up is at 85 degrees outside, minimum is going to be third stage. It'll start in third stage. If you don't set this latch up, it will just start out at first stage or run through or whatever the control deems necessary at that outside temperature. Heating is for heat pump. It does the same thing. Outside temp below 15, minimum third stage. Cooling lockout, none. 45, 50. So none or 45 degrees. Defrost interval, we usually leave that at auto. Don't like to really screw around with that too much. Let the system do what it's going to do. Every 120 minutes, every 90 minutes. So you can set it up on, you know, every, what's the minimum? So every 30 minutes, 120 minutes, or auto. Auto goes by temperature. It doesn't go by any kind of minutes. Some of the stuff isn't going to be allowed with this heat pump. So zoning, we didn't have any zoning. Accessories, filter. What kind of filter is it? Electronic air cleaner. Clean every 3 months. Okay. Humidifier, yes, it's installed. Change pad every 12. Humidify with fan. That one. Humidify with fan is when the furnace is running, it'll humidify if needed. But if the house just needs humidity with no heat, it will turn the fan on and run the humidifier. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people says it runs up their water bill. So that's one thing you got to be aware of, what's in there. So if the fan is running and the humidifier is on and the heat's off, don't think it's odd. It's probably just a setting in the control. Ultraviolet lights, we didn't have any installed, but if you hit yes, change every 12 months. Utility curtailment. Up in Michigan here, we got Detroit Edison. We call it Edison interruptible, to where they can interrupt your air conditioning 15 minutes on the hour every hour. And we can set it up in this control to either go to low stage, well, we can turn it off, or if they try to interrupt, it goes to low stage, or they turn the unit completely off. Heat pump, we don't worry about interruptible in the winter because they don't interrupt. Okay, I'll have to continue this one on another video because that was just set up. We didn't even get to check out yet any of the other information on here. So let me start another one. Like and subscribe. Thanks.